You mentioned Bud Light earlier, and I am with you on that whole thing, and I'm enjoying watching them suffer. I'm not going to lie. Now we've heard, we knew anecdotally that the sales were down. We'd been hearing about distributors struggling and, bar owners saying they can't sell it. And then we'd heard, it's down 23%, it's down 28% this quarter. Just the month ending July 15th, the Bud Light sales were down 26.5%. Turns out from April to June, the second quarter, they lost almost $400 million in sales. $390 million. And Anheuser-Busch correctly said it was because of Bud Light, that they blamed the volume decline in Bud Light. People saying it's done and it's not coming back, that these bartenders and people who deal in the liquor industry saying it's over, it's not rehabilitatable. And yet, look at this, Joe Rogan on the wrong side on this one, popping open a Bud Light, dismissing the whole controversy. This is the second time he's done this. Watch this.
And we're drinking Bud Light, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
We're fucked.
There's nothing wrong with it. People are so... Cheers, sir.
Cheers, brother.
People are so silly. We were just talking about how silly it is. One person made a really stupid decision, and now everybody's decided that Bud Light is the enemy.
Not
totally
getting it.
Wrong. He's totally wrong. Yeah. This is, as I said before, this is one of the cracks in the ice I'm seeing in the culture. The fact the right has, the right, the conservatives, they're like wrangling cats. Everyone has a different philosophy. Everyone has a different leader. They never get together on anything, and they never take action because they are natural pessimists. So they always think it's over. The country's finished. There's no coming back. Just give me my Bud Light and shut up. No, this time they spotted this. They've spotted this transgender movement as an attack on femininity, an attack on femaleness, which is exactly what it is. It's an attempt to destroy the very existence of women, the very fact that women are a thing and men and women are different. And there are, in fact, no people. There are only men and women, and there are only two kinds of people. They spotted it, and they spotted it on their beer. This is the beer of the working class guy. This is the beer, that you kick back. When you kick back and have a beer, it used to be a Bud Light. It was the #1 beer in America. It's now not even in the top 10. It's important. These little signs, and they are little signs, but they're important of a shift in perception on the right. This movie, The Sound of Freedom, which just made over $100 million and was not distributed by Hollywood. It was distributed in a new system. That's a major sign that shows that people are willing to turn up for good entertainment that doesn't toe the party line. And the fact that it maneuvered the left in The Guardian and Rolling Stone and all these left-wing papers are defending child molesting and child sex slavery. It's an amazing, amazing thing. They are being called out into the light. Listen, the other side of this, when we started out talking about when corruption becomes blatant because it becomes an instrument of power. The opposite side of that is we still live in a country where people have political power and they can strike, and economic power, and they can strike back. And so when these arrogant corruptos come out basically saying to the people, just keep your mouths shut because we can do this stuff whether it's constitutional or not, the people have a tendency to strike back and say, oh yeah, hit the road, Jack. And that has happened a number of times in this country. The country is not gone yet, and it can happen again. And I think I'm really hoping it will happen again. And if I seem like I've been hard on Donald Trump, it's because I love this country. I want it to go forward, and I'm worried about him. I'm worried about him as a political instrument. But perhaps he's fooled us before. He can fool us again, and I hope he does. I just think that this is the moment to strike back because the people are awake. The people are awake, and it's not just right-wingers. It's also people who are kind of, in the middle or middle left. I hear it. I talk to those people. They're saying, yeah, this has gone too far. This is not true. I don't want my kids taught this stuff. It's a big change, and it really is happening, but it's got to be nailed down politically as well as culturally.
It's if Bud Light actually were sorry about its one person sending one beer can to Dylan Mulvaney, we would have heard that. That's not what we've heard. The guy has never apologized. He's never owned up to it. The CEO of Anheuser-Busch, he's not sorry at all. He's only sorry that it turned into a controversy for him. He doesn't get it, and it's too late to save his brand. And most of us wouldn't be caught dead having a Bud Light now for very good reason. It endorses a whole set of values that we do not support. Notwithstanding what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying on Twitter this week. I've got to play the soundbite. He's lost his mind. Here he is.
Apparently, the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient. Because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice. Either the one you're assigned, the one you choose to be, whatever it is. Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care? Yeah. What business is it of yours?
I got dollars to donuts. He's cross-dressing at night.
That's
It's a little too
line,
defensive of this.
This line, why do you care? It is exactly the cry of people who have been caught. They have been fighting this culture war alone, and they've been invading and invading and invading. We're doing nothing. We sit around going, it's just Bud Light. I'm not going to boycott Bud Light. It's just a movie. It's just a guy who wants to dress up as a woman. Now we're awake, and now it's, why do you care so much? Why do you care so much? I'm not the guy knocking people off YouTube for saying men can't become women. I'm not the guy who cancels people and fires people and won't treat one patient couldn't be treated for cancer because they will not admit that men can become women because they can't. They're the ones who care. They're the ones who want to push this down our throats. And when we fight back, it's suddenly, why do we care? Listen, Richard Dawkins, a man I strongly disagree with on the subject of God, but is no doubt a good scientist, he said really interesting things on my friend's Trigonometry podcast.
I saw that.
He said, one of the problems with the human mind is it's too often binary. And I completely agree with that. It doesn't have nuance. It thinks there's black and white. It thinks there's only right and wrong instead of all these gray areas. But Dawkins went on to say the one area where the binary function is complete is in genetics, is in our sex lives. Men are men, women are women. We make generalities about them. There are obviously exceptions about them, but they wouldn't even be saying, these people wouldn't even be saying my gender is different if there weren't identifiable female traits.
This summer, big box retailers are seeking a massive big government handout from Congress, paid for by consumers, smaller financial institutions, community banks, and local credit unions. That's according to the Electronics Payment Coalition, a sponsor of today's episode. It's called the Credit Card Competition Act, aka the Big Box Bill. Mega retailers are in favor of it, but the Electronics Payments Coalition is not. They say this big box bill would actually transfer billions from consumers to retailers through eliminating popular credit card rewards programs, weakening cybersecurity protections, and reducing overall access to credit for people who need it the most. You can visit stopthebigboxbaitandswitch.com to learn more. That's stopthebigboxbaitandswitch.com. The link is in the description. Learn more, and if you want to help them, tell your legislator to stand up to the retail giants and to support consumers and small businesses. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.